Okay, so we seem to be living in a time now where films seem to be remade and rebooted left, right, and centre. Some of them, for the good part, do rather well. One company that seems to be doing it a lot lately is Disney, remaking their animated classics that we know and love into live-action remakes. 2014's Maleficent is no exception to that. A remake of the 1959 classic Sleeping Beauty, this film starring Angelina Jolie as a title character Maleficent takes a different approach to the story that we've not seen before. Firstly, it shows off her backstory as a young girl, sort of focusing on how she became the evil person she is later on. And I rather like that, as it develops her more as a character we would see later on in the movie. The story then shows her to meet Stefan, Princess Aurora's father, as a young child, and they fall in love. When Stefan is older, he sees a chance to become king and betrays Maleficent by cutting off her wings. Maleficent then decides to get her revenge by cursing Princess Aurora when she is born, into breaking her finger before she turns 16. And like the original, Aurora is taken to hiding until she turns 16, which of course fails on day 1, as Maleficent sees her. However, what's different here is that during the 16 years, Maleficent keeps watch over Aurora. Over the years, Aurora notices Maleficent and the two eventually meet and they become good friends, while at the same time King Stefan is trying to find Maleficent and kill her. Of course, you know the rest of the story. Aurora returns to the castle before her 16th birthday ends and she ends up pricking her finger on the spindle, falling into a deep sleep, which can only be awoken by true love's first kiss. But the climax is different, as there's just more a battle between the king and Maleficent. So for the most part, some of the movie is pretty good. First off, like I said earlier, being the development between Maleficent and Stefan before Aurora is born. It gives us the idea of what will make her turn evil, which of course we find out later on. And on top of that, Angelina Jolie, seriously, who could play the role better, pulls off a brilliant performance of Maleficent, especially in this scene where she is the person we all expected her to be. I mean, come on, throughout the rest of the story she's a misunderstood hero. That doesn't just work as well. Putting that to one side though, her relationship with Aurora, played by Ellie Fanning, was also really good, and when I see them in scenes together, I see these two as having a more mother-daughter relationship than Aurora had with the fairies, or even her real mother. And the other thing that I ended up liking is how Maleficent was able to see Aurora as not becoming the horrible person her father was being at the time, but a more kind-hearted, sweet little girl. And we even see her attempt to break the curse, which of course doesn't work, because she's set for all eternity. In all fairness, I ended up seeing this as one of the most artistic ideas, and it did help support the idea of Maleficent being the misunderstood hero over the villain. Another plus point I can give to this movie is that it at least explores some of the events that happened during the 16 years. In the original film, it just jumped straight from the ceremony day straight to Aurora's 16th. It's nice to at least get some insight as to what Aurora may have done within the time, except for this stuff. And we also have the idea of what King Stefan had been up to during the time. In the original, we just saw him ready, awaiting the return and getting a view of either of these people during the original would have made a good touch. And it's something that definitely is given a thumbs up by me, even if it is just filler. Okay, so what's bad about this movie? Well, one major factor is the fairies, Flora, Fauna and Merryweather. Yes, I know they have different names in this version, but that's the way I know them as, and I'm going to call them that. In the original 1959 counterpart, they existed more for comic relief and showed how they attempted to live like mortals, which they did rather well, seeing as throughout the previous film they managed to cope with Aurora, or Briar Rose as she was at the time, without too much trouble. But in this version, they're portrayed as complete idiots who have no idea how to look after a child. Seriously, no one is keeping an eye on her in this scene. If it hadn't been for Maleficent being present here, she would have fallen to her death, and King would have to do some great explaining to King Stefan there. So clearly he didn't make a good move handing his only child over to them. If you remember, in the original, the idea of hiding the princess was actually the fairies' idea, not the king's. I really think these characters should have been looked at a lot more, and made more similar to the 1959 counterparts. Seriously, one of them is played by Imelda Staunton, and she is a brilliant actress, but her appearance in this is just wasted talent that any other actress could have easily done. Another negative point is the idea of the king being the real villain in this movie. Many people who would have read the original story would know that Maleficent is supposed to be the real villain of Sleeping Beauty, and while really well done, it just doesn't click with me. And you see this idea of King Stefan losing his mind throughout the 16 years when Aurora is hidden, as he tries to hunt down Maleficent, and we see him absolutely not caring about anything else that's going on. I mean, there's one point where he's told that his wife is dying, and he literally doesn't give a shit. And again, the same thing happens when his daughter finally returns to the castle. He acts like a neglectful father, but if you remember, in the original, We have the scene where you see him looking out over the woods, anxious for Aurora to return, actually acting like a caring father. And we had that reunion scene at the end where they're all relieved Aurora's alive. It would have been good if he at least had some concern for his daughter's safety when she returns. Because this time, all he does is basically lock her in the room, don't let her out till morning. I just don't hit with that, really. This time as well, Prince Philip doesn't play as much of a role in the movie. He's purely there to be the one who would wake Aurora from her sleep. He appears once beforehand, and again, it's just filler as we wait for it to happen. If we looked at that in the original, he was actually there at the christening of the princess, and the fathers of both are really good friends. There was actually a meaning for them both to get married. We had that real development between the two. In this, we just had that brief moment. They say hi, Philip leaves. And because of that, he's supposed to wake her from her sleep. I'm not going to go into this too much, as he really wasn't meant to play too much of a major role. And the movie does want to focus more between Maleficent and Aurora, and he's really there just to be a boyfriend for the princess later. Something else I have to point out as well that I didn't have too much of a positive view on was the rendition of Once Upon a Dream, this time sung by Lana Del Rey. Because this is only in the credits, I won't be too critical on it, but I didn't like it compared to the way it was done in the original. In the original, when it was sung by Mary Costa, it was a way of her expressing her opinion on seeing the person she loved in her dreams, Prince Philip, and the fact that she'd done it over and over again. She knew that the dream should come true. However, in this version, Lana Del Rey makes it feel as though the entire movie was a horror movie. Come on guys, this is supposed to be a kids movie, not The Ring. But as I said, it's only in the credits, so it's not too much to criticise. Okay, so my overall opinion on this movie. It's a good attempt at a remake that takes a different approach, but there are many things wrong with this movie, just like another remake of 2014. It had the right to being creative and finding a new way to write a movie, but there should definitely be some more work done into it, especially with these characters. So overall, out of 10, I would give this movie a 6. It's worth seeing if you're a Disney fan, and there's definitely some enjoyment you can find within it. This has been a review by JangoFett220. Thanks for watching, guys. Please be sure to like, favourite, and leave a comment and subscribe. If you want to stay updated with upcoming reviews, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time.